I ignored my destiny once, I cannot do that again. Even for you. I'm the only one who knows that. At least I'm the only one with the will to act on it.
The Mad Titan Podcast with your host, Jay Washington.
What's happening, everybody? I'm back. It's another episode of the Mad Titan Podcast with me, resident supervillain, Mr. Jay Washington. I'm in the building. What's going on, everybody? First and foremost, let me say thank you to each and every one of you all who checked out the inaugural episode. Everybody who has subscribed already. I know Google Play is having some issues. I got to fix that because it should be up there as well as other ones. But if you've been on iTunes already, if you liked it, you subscribed, and you've been rating already, I appreciate you a millionfold. Getting this off the ground was not easy. It was a kind of taxing experience mentally and emotionally and everything, as well as putting the work into it. But here we are nonetheless. So let me first, before I go any further, introduce my special guest with me this week. I told you guys I was going to try to have a different guest on with me to be able to give their opinions on different things so we can see how they will view it, see how the world goes, something like that. So it just ain't me talking about my damn self, basically. Because y'all know I keep talking and just won't give a fuck. But anyway, on the air with me this time, I have one of my great friends, man. He has been like a brother to me. We laugh, we joke. I found out he is a pro wrestler. He is mediocre at best at that, but he is also one of the correspondents for the Cinelinx website. He is the Jersey Jackass, and just a normal jackass. My homie BC, what it is, pimpin'?
Bruh, come on now. I am world heavyweight champion of ETCW. What do you mean mediocre at best?
Ask anybody else outside of the 76 people that go see that show. Do they know what the hell ETCW is?
Bruh, come on, man. It's a world heavyweight champion of the world. Not the city, the world.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Right. How you been, man? What's going on with you?
Good, man. Chilling. Just kind of hanging out. Just getting over the weekend, watching All In and relaxing and trying to get back into the swing of things.
Yeah, man. For those who don't know, All In was this major independent wrestling pay-per-view that happened over the weekend. Of course, like I said, BC's a wrestler. For those who don't know my history, I am a former pro wrestler on his way back in the ring. And so it was nice to see guys do a major show on an independent level like that. That could be a whole nother podcast within itself. I ain't got time to get into all that. But for me, the past week has been nice. It's been a lot of work trying to get stuff together. I will talk to you guys at the end of this about what's coming up this weekend because I'm super excited. The information that I got and everything that's out about it. So I will tell you all. But let's kick it off with a bunch of Marvel news. Now, as you know, we're going to start getting a little bit closer to having more news because the TV shows are about to start coming back. Iron Fist is actually debuting this weekend, so I'll have all that information and a whole lot more, but I'm going to give you what I got. Right now, let's kick it up.
Okay, so I'm wrestling Friday night, right? I got to wake up Saturday, go get my Spider-Man PlayStation. I spent $423 just on the Spider-Man PlayStation. I'm not going to get to play it because I got to get to the arena, wrestle Friday night. I got to fly to LA on Saturday, and then I fly back to Dallas on Sunday. So I'm not going to get to play or watch Iron Fist until Sunday evening.
Well, we'll get to that, but let's get to the stories we got first. On deck, speaking of members of the Defenders, Luke Cage is in hot water. If you all haven't heard, at Aretha Franklin's still going on funeral, the Bishop Ellis grabbed Ariana Grande in a very inappropriate manner. He clutched some side boob, okay? Not
you ain't shoot. That's like burying the lead there, barely. That man wasn't just clutching. He was grabbing. He got a handful.
He got a handful of side titty, which is bogus, all right? But here's what happened. Trevor Noah pointed it out on his Twitter. Trevor Noah said, "What's up with that pastor's hand?" Again, people saw it. Some people didn't catch it at first. Many people caught it during the replays and seeing pictures on social media. Well, Trevor Noah posted about it, like I said. And Mike Coulter, who plays Luke Cage, retweeted it and said this. Now, this is how you shoot your shot. 0 fucks. Here's the problem.
Bruh.
Here's the problem with that. The tweet comes off as if you're condoning the fuck out of what the pastor did, which is completely bogus. It should have never happened. He immediately went to go delete that tweet, right? But of course, social media being what it is, screenshots are the way of life. And everybody got it, and people started coming at his head, even though he had deleted it. But then he apologized and claimed that he was being sarcastic in order to, quote unquote, point out the absurdity of the act itself. But then he deleted that as well. When I tell you Marvel's PR team hit that dude up so fucking fast, it was like, hey, get your mans. They hit up his reps like,
dude,
get your mans.
I mean, get that off, get the extra tweet off, don't apologize, get everything off now, shut up, stay off Twitter.
Yep. They basically shut all that down. But again, I get because it was bogus the way the pastor did it. And also the pastor's apology, he said he hugs everybody like that. In Baptist churches, I will admit there is groping that happens and it shouldn't happen. But people, the men and women, give extra tight hugs. They give those embraces. And I understand in the day and age in which we're in that it shouldn't be that way. But if you've never gone to a Black Baptist church, you can expect those embraces. I just don't call it what it is.
Look, yo, I get all that. I get all that. But an embrace, a hug, one thing. Homie's fingers were
you didn't let me finish.
Reach.
Oh, you didn't let me finish. Fam's fingers at one point, if you look, you see them wiggle. You know what I'm saying? He was like, oh, this is some meat right here. So what he said was, he was calling this, he may have gotten a little too friendly. He didn't mean anything by it. But also, he said he didn't know who Ariana Grande was at first. He thought it was something off the menu at Taco Bell. I'm not gonna lie to you. As fucked up as that is, I giggled for a half a second because it sounds like a corny joke I would hear somebody say. And then I was like, yeah, what?
I said, yeah, man, that's kind of added insult to injury there.
It was, dude. This is what he said. His apology included, I guess I got a little too friendly and I made a run for the border. Yo, you didn't make it no better, sir.
Bro, you need a chill.
So, but again, the pastor is bogus. He's apologized. Some people have accepted it. Some people have not. Ariana Grande nor her spokespeople have spoken out about it. But when it comes to what we're talking about with Mike Coulter, does his reaction to that, do you think that will affect anything going forward as what Netflix will do with him as far as Luke Cage goes?
I don't think so. I mean, he'll probably still issue some kind of like a legit apology other than the tweet that he had to take down. And I think it was a joke in bad taste. And right now Marvel and jokes are not in the up and up. But I don't think it was anything malicious. I don't think he meant anything bad by it. I just think it was a bad choice of words. And sometimes you say things on Twitter and your tone of voice, you can't get that on Twitter.
That's one thing I wanted to, and people never get that. They always say, well, you meant it this way because you typed it. And like you just said, you cannot tell what that tonality is in a type setting.
Yeah.
So I definitely do agree with you when you say Marvel/Disney and jokes right now of a certain subject, they really don't know. It's a slippery slope for them. Let's just call it for what it is. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But I just hope, he does issue a full apology. Get it, let them know, yo, you were bogus. Him being like, yo, I was wrong. I made light of it. I shouldn't have done that. Hopefully, you guys can accept my apology. I'll work to be better. Things like the normal what we hear, but also action behind it.
Yeah.
Because, you hear people say things all the time, but you want the action that follows behind it as well. And I know that's what a lot of people are looking for. In some other Marvel news, X-Men Dark Phoenix, the reshoots are happening. Okay? Director Simon Kinberg, he teased a Jean Grey fiery return in a couple of posts he put up on Instagram. Now, Does this make you happy for it? Does it give you anticipation for it, or what?
Okay, look, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm one of those people that are excited for X-Men Dark Phoenix. I understand it's probably not going to be a good movie. I don't think Apocalypse was a good movie, but I love the X-Men world. I love the mutants. I love being sucked into these films. So I'm excited for it. And as far as the reshoots go, everyone was crying and complaining about how long the reshoots are going to take. But if you actually look at the stars that are involved in it, it's obvious reshoots are going to take that long because all these people they're busy. They're doing Game of Thrones. They're doing this, that, and the other thing. So the fact that they're like, yo, we're trying to get them in here, they're actually only going to take about 3 weeks. I'm excited. I want to see this movie. My question is, when and where are we going to see it? Is it going to hit theaters? Or is the Fox still going to go through and somehow we end up getting it on the Disney streaming service?
Well, again, the Disney acquisition of Fox is done. It's complete. So they own this. This movie is, at first I was hearing that this movie may not even see the light of day, but when you consider how much money has been poured into this, as well as New Mutants, it's going to come out. I believe, honestly, we may get this on the streaming platform.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think with Marvel focusing so much on the MCU itself will put out the Fox film. Because now people know it's under the Fox banner. I mean, it's under the Disney banner. And if that movie tanks, it'll be like, well, see, Marvel can mess up too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
people will put too much on it.
I agree. I agree. I think that's why they'll just be like, yo, remember that movie I kind of wanted to see? Here it is on the streaming service.
Right. So I don't think that'll be the best thing for that, but I do think we'll get it on the streaming. Back to what you were saying about Apocalypse. Apocalypse was horrible.
It was bad.
There's no other way to put it. X-Men Apocalypse was horrible. I just don't think Fox at the time was really thinking that this should be a good idea. I think they just were like, oh, this is going to be a cash grab. You would think because you have this talented cast, you have a James McAvoy, you have a Michael Fassbender, you have a Jennifer Lawrence, you got a Sophie Turner. You would think that this cast is like, yo, people got to go see this. But how much more do you see of the same thing? There's no reason Mystique should have been front and center in Apocalypse. Apocalypse should have been better. I'm of two minds. Again, like you said, I'm with you. I love the X-Men universe as a whole. I love the X-Men. I love the characters. But I consider it, had this iteration been just X-Men First Class and X-Men Days of Future Past, we would not have had any issue.
No.
You could have stopped it. Go ahead.
I can watch, like, my major, I think there is, like, some genius in Apocalypse. There's a story there they could have put out well. All the scenes with Magneto early on, before he comes back as Magneto, are absolutely incredible. That scene in the woods is one of my favorite comic book scenes. My major issue, what pisses me off the most, is Jennifer Lawrence not wanting to put the freaking makeup on. That has always been my problem. Like, I'm sorry, you're Mystique. Put the damn makeup on.
Oh, I'm with you 100-fold. You should not be, there's no reason you should sit there and be like, oh, well, I don't want to sit in a chair 4 or 5 hours. This is the job you took. But that goes on to other TV shows and even other characters, which is why in Avengers Infinity War, we got so much more Paul Bettany as himself as opposed to being in the makeup as Vision.
Yeah.
So, but I get it. But I've heard some things. I don't want to spoil it for people. So I've heard some things about Dark Phoenix, what happens, which in a sense may make people a little bit happy about the film within the first 10 minutes or so. We'll see.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, I told you that. So
I know what you're talking about now.
So we'll see. We shall see.
I want to see it. I don't care how I get to see it. I want to see it. I don't want this to be something that goes away and we never get to see. I want to see what they did, whether it's good or bad. I want to see it.
Okay. I do. You know what? I'll say that too. I'm like that way, and I'm not just saying that to say it, because I was, criticized before going to see films just to go in and, bash it. I'd watch a film just to bash it, and I was like, yo, why would I do that? I went to see X-Men Apocalypse, hoping it would be good. I hoped it would be good. And so when it wasn't that I went in looking for it to be a flawed movie. Because, I mean, yeah, we saw behind-the-scenes photos. We saw non-color corrected pics where we saw Oscar Isaac look more like Ivan Ooze than anything else. And unfortunately, it became that's what the fuck we got in the end. But, you know, I hope for the best. This is one of those movies I just can't. I'm sorry, I can't hope for the best with this. I'll go see it regardless. But the reason I can't hope for the best with this is because its predecessor film was ass awful.
Yeah, and like it's like Fantastic Four. I heard everyone who saw Fantastic Four talk about how bad it is, but I still and everything I saw it. I thought the trailers all looked incredible, and I went into there with hope, with thinking, look, they're just wrong. I'm gonna like this movie because there's a lot of horrible comic book movies that I understand they're horrible, but I like them anyway because I can get sucked into just having a little bit of fun with it. Mm-hmm. But damn. Some of them you just can't. And just like that with Fantastic Four, I went in hoping for a good time. Didn't get it. Well, I'll go into Dark Phoenix hoping that it's good.
Well, here's the thing. When you got the director himself tweeting out, hey, this ain't the movie I shot, okay?
True.
It'll let you know automatically. But let's move on. Eminem has dropped a song for the Venom soundtrack. Eminem dropped a surprise album, Kamikaze, last week, and it got rave reviews. And one of the biggest things that came out about it was the fact that he has done a song for Venom. He even tweeted about it. Now, the song is dope. It references Venom and Symbiote, maybe twice total. It's a dope song. My question is it just a song he's doing, or will he be doing the soundtrack?
Man, I would love for him to do the entire soundtrack. I think that'd be dope, bro. I think he could really kill that. I don't think he is. Had we not got Kamikaze, had we only got the Venom song, I would have leaned more toward, yeah, he could probably be doing that. But because we got Kamikaze, I don't think he's doing the whole soundtrack.
Well, this is my thing then. Isn't it possible that he can do both? Like,
it is, but it's not likely.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's not likely, but it's possible. Also, I think we would have heard, sort of to the extent the way we heard Kendrick was doing the Black Panther soundtrack, if that makes sense. One song, cool. Like, you and I were discussing this before we started recording. I believe this song is going to be, I believe it's going to be the second credit song, because this can't be the first song you hear as soon as the credits start to crawl. This is the second song you hear, right before a post-credit scene or after a post-credit scene.
Yeah.
I do
because you'll get score going into like a mid-credit scene.
You'll get score and then you'll get this
after that credit, this will drop.
But that's like, and then like you were saying, we are going to get one more trailer. Let's just call it for what it is. It is September now. Venom drops in a month and a couple of days. In a month and a week, we are going to get another trailer. Mm-hmm. Which, honestly, I'm going to tell you something. I don't want it. Bro, I'm not going to lie. I don't want another trailer.
See, now I'm torn. Because I get to a point with movies now that I won't watch the final trailer. I'm like, at that point, I'm like, all right, this trailer's not for me. This trailer's to pull in the audience that they don't know if they want to see it or not. So I don't ever watch like final trailers. But now I know that this song's going to be on the trailer. And you think about how awesome a trailer can be with the right song. Like, look at the Creed 2 trailer with DNA. That thing is cut so perfectly with DNA that it just hyped. Like, I got to watch it before I go to the gym. I'm hyped up, ready to go try to lift as much as you can, but I can't. So I just can't wait to see how they cut this, because you know the song's going to be in that trailer.
So that's what I was about to bring up. Certain songs do go with the trailers because it flows in. It's the way it's cut, like you said. DNA applies to Creed because I got royalty, got loyalty inside my DNA. We're talking about Michael B. Jordan's character, who is the son of Apollo Creed. That's a different ball game than saying Venom symbiote. Something like however the chorus goes with this, and seeing if it's something that's going to really appeal to you. You know, if that makes sense. Because there's already skepticism about this film. Let's just call it for what it is. There's a lot of skepticism. A lot of people are concerned about how much time will we actually see Venom, as opposed to how much time will we just see Tom Hardy. And I'm of the mind that Sony is like, we got Tom Hardy, goddammit, we're going to show you Tom Hardy.
I think so too, but I think we're going to get more Venom. I wouldn't have thought this until I saw the Comic-Con footage. I wouldn't have thought that we were going to get as much Venom. I thought Venom was maybe only going to show up in the third act. But I think we're going to get a little bit more than we are thinking we're going to get. I don't think it's going to be a lot. I think it's still going to be maybe a 60-40 split, but as opposed to like the 80-20 I was thinking early on.
Okay, I can agree with you with that. You have that. You have the Tom Hardy situation. You also have now director Ruben Fleischer has been coy and tiptoeing around the fact if whether or not Spider-Man is in the movie. Here's something I've said before on multiple other podcasts, TV shows, and whatnot. You can believe me, you need to, but you probably won't. Spider-Man is not in this movie. Peter Parker is. Okay? Peter Parker is in the movie. That's why he's tiptoeing around it. Because if he tells you that Tom Holland is in the movie, you're automatically expecting to see the Spidey suit. No, you won't. So
my question is how does it fit in? Where is it that Peter Parker is? Because we're taking place in San Francisco.
That was about to be my question.
If you try to look at the Spider-Man lore and how this comes apart, Parker's working with the Bugle, which is why Brock hates him. It doesn't look like Brock is working anywhere near New York or with the Bugle. It doesn't look like we're at any point that the symbiote has met Peter. So how does he fit in and where does he fit in? That's going to be my question going in.
Dude, I'm the same way with you. It's going to be, I hope it's not going to be that, oh, this is a field trip. And then we just say, hey, I'm Peter Parker. Hey, I'm Eddie Brock. Just shaking and twitching as he's talking. Because we don't know where all this falls in the timeline of things. Because Spider-Man Far From Home, everybody is like, well, if they're doing a sequel, this could be, right after Avengers. We don't know if Far From Home is like literally right after the events of Homecoming.
Yeah.
So, and I use that to say we don't know that if in his trip where he goes somewhere in Far From Home is somehow he goes to San Francisco at one point and then eventually end up in London or wherever they're going to end up.
Yeah. What I've always wanted from this, like I don't even think you needed to have Tom Holland. All you need is maybe you open up with it in, New York, rain. All you see is someone up in a bell tower and being ripped off, and somehow it's Riz Ahmed who's getting a hold of it at the end, Then opening title, and boom, we're in San Francisco. That way, later on down the line, if you want to connect Spider-Man to it, this takes place after something later on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly with you. Like, I agree. They should have that. But I think this is just to have Peter Parker, period, is just fan service. It's literally fan service. Because the biggest issue has been from jump, how do you do a Venom movie without Spider-Man? That has been the biggest and number one issue. And this is literally just fan service to say, hey, he exists in this world.
And but that's my other question. Is this fan service like the Avengers trying to get Hugh Jackman to just have a cameo in the Avengers movie? Or is it, where he wasn't going to be Wolverine, he was just going to be Hugh Jackman walking around in the background in a jacket. And you're like, oh, look, yay! Or is this Tom Holland, Peter Parker from the MCU? You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying, but it is, I don't know how they're going to explain it, but it is Peter Parker, Tom Holland from the MCU who will be in this film, so we don't know how that affects the events of Avengers 4, Spider-Man. Speaking of Avengers 4, we have an official time when the movie will be finished, okay? Now, Avengers 4 is currently undergoing reshoots, and the Russo brothers recently told Deadline that work will continue throughout the rest of this year with the completion targeted for March of 2019. I don't know if people understand how tight that is. That is a crunch. Because
going into it, I figured they were already finished. I figured they just did everything all at once.
I did too. And I thought they were done with, I knew they shot everything back to back. That was a given. But I would assume that the reshoots would have been done by now as well. And you might have to do a pickup or two. Because, of course, if you haven't heard, the Russos made sure they shot a lot of bogus scenes on purpose. The actors themselves didn't even know if their scene was bogus or not to prevent anything from leaking. But the reason I say I feel like you're cutting it close, March 2019 with a theatrical release date set for May 3rd, 2019. Here's the issue with that. This year's The Last Avengers Infinity War was scheduled to be May 4th, 2018, and it got pushed up a week, right? Once it got pushed up, it also pushes up press screenings, which means the movie needs to be completely done by then, which means you're going to have your editors cramming and making sure you got all this together in less than a 45-day period total. Not saying for sure they're going to push up the date, but just going off of what they've done already.
Yeah, but you also got to remember, the first Avengers, they were still reshooting stuff a week before the release. I mean, granted, that was just a post-credit scene.
Well, yeah, we got the post-credit scene the day of the premiere.
Yeah.
They shot it the day of the premiere.
This could be reshoots of, okay, we need some quick scenes to explain why Drax is not coming back. All right, let's go.
Well, that ties into another point I have about the whole Guardians being on hold right now. So that's my big concern, because now I'm wondering, are the two playing together? Because if you haven't heard, you had to be under a rock by now, Guardians 3 is officially on hold. Pre-production was supposed to be starting. Everything was supposed to be a go. They have told the crew to start looking for other jobs in the time being. So does this mean we're changing the outcomes of the Guardians now?
I think this could really affect and become, okay, the only Guardians that are going to come back is we're going to bring Groot back, and we're just going to have as Guardians of the Galaxy. We'll have Thor, Rocket, Groot. We'll go forward. We'll be fine.
Yeah, because that might be because Batista has been extremely vocal about how he feels. You know, he has not made it any secret that he does not really want to do a film. You know, he contractually has to, but he does not want to do a film without James Gunn.
And that's not going to be a problem for Marvel. Marvel have made sure that they are not hesitant to recast you. All right, we brought in a brand new Rhodey. We brought in a new Bruce Banner. We brought in a new Red Skull now. They have no qualm. I think those recasting.
But see, the only one that has a direct current effect is the whole Rhodey one. And the reason I say that is you didn't really care too much about Ed Norton as Bruce Banner. Most people didn't. Let's just be honest. It was really like most people didn't care, most people did. So when you replaced him with Ruffalo, it was like, all right, whatever, okay? Yeah. The Red Skull, after the events of Captain America the First Avenger, unless you paid attention, most people were like, oh, the Red Skull died, and what you realize he never died. Yeah. But people were like, oh, so he's gone. So by that time, Hugo Weaving is out of your mind. So when you recasted him and brought him into Infinity War, it wasn't much of a shock or a blow. But
but it just sets a precedent that they are not afraid to recast somebody. They're not.
Yeah, but again, how pivotal? Okay, I know people say, well, isn't the Hulk pivotal? Yes, he is. And isn't Rhodey pivotal? Kinda, sorta, but not really. I mean, we've established that Rhodey is pivotal now. Like, you can't cast anybody else. You can't recast Don Cheadle at this point. But when it comes to the Guardians of the Galaxy, who do you get to play the bulk, the size, the dim-wittedness, and humor, same level, same tone as what Batista has given you?
I mean, you gotta shell out some money, but you could pull The Rock in there. It'd be the same damn thing.
He's not gonna do it.
You could go less money. And you could pull in John Cena, who has proved to have comedic elements, who has the same size as Batista.
Well, here's why I know you won't get The Rock, because The Rock is getting ready to do Black Adam, and I know people do both all the time. I do know we've seen crossovers in both universes,
but you can get one of the clones of The Rock, because there's a million of him.
Yeah, but again, there's this dynamic that we've seen, that we've established. That's what I'm saying. This dynamic with Dave Bautista and Bradley Cooper. This dynamic with Dave Bautista, Bradley Cooper, and Ben Diesel with 3 words. There's a dynamic we've gotten with them.
But that entire dynamic's going to change anyway because we're going to have a new director. No matter what we do, it's going to look and feel different, regardless of how you try to resemble what James Gunn has done. It is going to look and feel different. All 3 Thor's movies have felt different. Bringing in
that's because they've
Shane Black and Iron Man, they feel different.
Well, here's the thing with that. Yeah, the 3 Thor movies are different because there are 3 different directors. 3 entirely different directors.
That's my point. So you're going to have a different feel anyway.
See, that's why everybody is pitching for Taika Waititi, because he'll give you the closest feel.
Yeah, I agree. And I just, look, I'm all about Batista. I love Batista. I want to see him continue. But if he don't want to do it, I don't think Marvel has any question either saying, oh man, that character didn't come back, or completely recasting.
I don't know, man. It's just going to be interesting to see, because Guardians 3 was set to come out 2020. It was on their slate for 2020, May of 2020. And now with these reshoots, like we've been talking about with Avengers 4, do you just say, you know what, we'll bring you back for the return that everybody has to have this big ensemble shot, but then when we kill you off, we kill you?
I think it's a very big possibility. I don't doubt it now.
It's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be really interesting to see. Speaking of things also that are going to be affected post-Avengers 4, Spider-Man Far From Home is said to have another classic villain to be confirmed to appear in this movie. Now, it is already known that Mysterio is going to be in the film, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, right? Right. Rumors are pointing that Chameleon is going to show up. Right. It is also believed that for some god unknown fucking reason, Hydro Man is going to show up. Right? With a question mark. Right? With a question mark, because that don't make no sense. Who the fuck wants to see Hydro Man on the big screen, okay?
Look, there's one reason I like the idea of Hydro Man, but they have to do it like Dark Knight did it with Scarecrow. How Scarecrow continued to show up and he'd be like a little guy that Batman opens up the movie.
Okay, if you do that, I'm fine. If you do that, I'm fine. If you do him that way. So that's not the one. Also, we know that Michael Keaton is reprising his role. Michael Mondo is reprising his role. Bokeem Woodbine is also reprising his role, because we are setting up for the Sinister Six, which is the 3rd Spider-Man film. It is now said that Molten Man will be making an appearance. Okay? Mark Raxon, who debuted in Amazing Spider-Man 28, his origin story is connected to Spencer Smythe. Now, when you hear Spencer Smythe, who does that bring up later?
Kingpin.
Alistair Smythe.
Oh, I was thinking more of Kingpin.
It could give you both. It could give you Wilson Fisk, but we know for a fact that they're not having them cross over yet. As of now, they're in the universe, but they're not in the universe.
Yeah.
But Molten Man is supposed to be coming out, and the reason people know this is that a Molten Man action figure supposedly is one of the toys that are being produced for this movie. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get them, but you could. Because remember, a Namor figure came out for the Black Panther movie toys, and which made people instantly think that Namor would be in the film. Potentially, he can be maybe the villain of whatnot in the second movie.
Yeah.
But I just hope we don't get... Here's the thing I don't want. I know we're setting up the Sinister Six. I know it, and you have to set it up a certain way. I just don't want this movie getting overcrowded.
The only way I'm good with it is, like I said, if it's a small role, or we got to give Spider-Man something to do that eventually sets up something else. And this is just a guy we're going to catch. Molten Man is not someone I'm really familiar with. If you're not in the 90s animated series, I didn't know too much about them. And I don't remember him ever showing up in there. So, why we're going to have him and Hydro Man, unless there's something that they're combined with. There's a reason we have both of them. I don't know. I like the idea of Chameleon being there. I like the idea of, you still get Vulture in jail and Scorpion in jail.
Again, you got so here's potentially your 6. You got Vulture, you've got Scorpion, you've got Shocker, Mysterio, Chameleon. Is your 6th Hydro Man? Is it Molten Man? Is it possibly going back getting Doc Ock? Is it going forward and finally getting a Goblin? And I don't say the Green Goblin. I said a Goblin. Because a lot of people
I want Hobgoblin.
That's the one I want. I want Hobgoblin. We've done Norman too many times. We tried that bastardized version as Harry as the new Goblin. Harry as the Goblin, the Green Goblin, in Amazing Spider-Man 2. We did the Harry in Spider-Man 3 of being the new Goblin. I mean, let us get the Hobgoblin and do something completely outside the Osborn family.
Yeah. I would think, because you'll have, it's hard now because I want the original, I want Doc Ock in there. I want Vulture in there. Mysterio. I would love to see Electro, but we just had him with the Amazing Spider-Man. I don't think they're going to take another shot at him there. And Kraven, we know, is possibly coming out in his own damn movie.
Again, all these things they could be doing are interesting because Kraven is going to be, and I'm sorry to cut you off, bro. Kraven's a Sony product, a Sony film.
Yeah.
Who does Kraven hunt unless you have him hunt the symbiote?
Exactly, because if he's not hunting Spider-Man, then I think your only option is to have him hunting the symbiote. Unless you're doing some kind of weird origin movie where it doesn't even take place in America, it takes place out in, the jungle somewhere. But I don't know. I don't want Hydra or Molten Man in there. I think that's weak. I think Hobgoblin would be a great one. I love the idea of the Shocker in there because Shocker's one of the guys I've always loved. And I didn't really like how they did him in Spider-Man Homecoming, but I like that we kind of got to see him there.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Man. It's interesting to see what this is going to be.
The whole Marvel element as a whole, whether it be Marvel and Fox, Marvel and Disney, Marvel and Sony. And I understand, yes, I know Fox is merged with Disney now as far as that goes, but we still have different entities out there. This is going to be really, this one I think for the most part, the Spider-Man elements are the most tricky. You established the X-Men universe with Fox. That's on its own. That's cool. I don't know what you're going to do with it when you switch around, but bam. Spider-Man is the one that gets me because Spider-Man is an essential character in your MCU now, right? He's there. But you're taking his greatest villain, giving him his own movie that doesn't involve the Spider-Man, which was the creation of the villain, which is going to spawn another villain, which you're going to have another villain come up to try to chase. You get what I'm saying? How confused you probably were listening to that? That's how confusing it is.
It is. It's really difficult to see because you're like, okay, and even us who are, we follow this stuff are getting confused with it. What's it like with just the regular fans that don't seem to who don't know, oh, this is a separate movie. This has nothing to do with this, It's going to cause a little bit more confusion than they would want. But at the same time, I don't know how if you're focusing you have the entire MCU that you're focusing on. How can you really focus on doing the Venom story with Spider-Man correctly? Because you need multiple movies, I think, for that. So I don't know I don't know what your answer is. I don't know what you do. The only thing I can say is going into it, it may look jumbled, but in Feige we trust.
Yeah, and that's all we can say. Let's go on to some DC news. First of all, we got to announce it. The DC Universe, the streaming platform, has an official launch date. It will launch September 15th. That also coincides with Batman Day. No, it's Superman Day. I'm sorry. Superman Day.
Oh, it's Batman Day. It's Batman Day.
It's Batman Day? Yeah, Batman Day. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, I knew it was one of their days, but it's Batman Day. So it will it will launch on that date. Titans is also set to debut in October. But before I go into Titans, I have to give a big congrats to one of my homeboys who is one of the new hosts on DC Daily. Shouts out to the homeboy Hector Navarro. Hector has been a great friend of mine since I moved out to Los Angeles. Excuse me, I don't know why I have the hiccups. It has been happening. Hector's been a great friend. He knows his stuff. He is definitely worthwhile being a part to that, man. Check him out on Hyper Heroes, on Hyper RPG with Augustine Rios, as well as Adam Lovick.
I am really excited to see Hector out on DC Daily. I think that's going to be really cool. He does. You're right. He knows his stuff. He's ready to go, and I cannot wait to see him out there. I'm so happy for him. Great.
Yeah, this is for him. He deserves this, and so I'm happy for him. But also, like I said, Titans is set to debut in October, and for the release of Titans, we got 4 new banner pictures showing our heroes. Right. Got a Starfire, got a Robin, got a Raven, got a Beast Boy. What did you think of those?
I'm gonna say Starfire looks a little better in this doctored photo that is not on screen or moving or doing anything. She looks better.
Well, also remember the original photos that we saw. The original photos that we saw are behind the scenes. And here's something about filmmaking people have to understand. There are certain colors that you will not ever be able to film directly. You have to have them color corrected. So bright red, for instance, it cannot be filmed that way. It has to be color corrected to be bright red. A certain orange or green or things like that, they have to be color corrected. I've always said this. Shouts out to Anna Diop when she shut down all the haters and posted that comic accurate picture of Starfire, in which they use. I still say this to this day, and I will continue to say it and stand on it. If you are upset that a black woman is playing an orange alien, a fictitious alien from a race that is derived from cats, you are a fucking idiot. There is no other way to say it.
Yeah, that has absolutely nothing to do with it. The people who are mad about that are they're dumb as hell and don't deserve any time to be talked about. My issue is more of the lines that I just don't think it looked really good. I think they set her up for failure. Because I watched the trailer for this, and I'm just like, maybe the effects aren't done yet, but the effects aren't hitting me right.
You know what?
That has always been my issue.
So I liked some parts of the trailer, I will admit. Others I wasn't. And when I sat back and rewatched the trailer,
when he throws the R and it hit, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be dope.
Right. That was when I was like, yo, you got me here. But then I'm like, why are we going to this whole angle where Dick Grayson is a cop? We don't need this, right? Yeah. Also, well, at least, and the only way I can guess I can try to justify it is saying, well, at least we know how the fuck he pay for things. But then, he has a job. Because we never know how they pay for anything they have. Like, who's fronting the electricity bill for certain things? Like, so at least we understand he's got income coming in. But then when I watch the fight, again, the whole fuck Batman line, it's like, okay, you wanted to show the edge of that. But here's my biggest issue is, this looks like an extended, lower-tiered superpower beatdown.
Exactly.
If you don't know, for those who listen and don't know what superpower beatdown is,
and that's nothing against superpower beatdown.
It's nothing against because shouts out to everybody at Bat in the Sun and Machinima who have put those together. They are amazing. I love the superpower beatdowns. It is just, this looks like you try to be that on a quote-unquote grander scale and miss the mark. Also, from what I'm told, this entire season for Titans is predicated on them either finding or saving Raven to where she gets the jewel in her head at the end. Because if you notice in all of her photos, she does not have it.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
She doesn't have a jewel in her head. People really aren't going to care about Titans, unfortunately, if I'm just going to be honest, till episode 5. What happens in episode 5? The Doom Patrol comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And the Doom Patrol is brought together by Cyborg, who will be in Doom Patrol, but he's not a Titan.
But not the Cyborg from Justice League.
No, it's Jovan Wade. He's from the first Purge, other shows as well. And I feel sorry for Ray Fisher, because like, yo, you were told you are going to be a quintessential character in the DCEU going forward, right? You were told you're going to be such an important character. Your role in Justice League is going to set you up to be a blockbuster star of your own, because you're going to get your own film afterwards and this, that, and the third. You are chopped to death out of Justice League. Then your movie is no longer on the table. That sucks for him. Real talk.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It does. It's really disappointing, because I really liked his portrayal. I didn't like the CGI they gave to him, but him as like that one scene of him and Flash digging up Superman. they're just fun together. I like seeing them together. I want to see more of that. So I'm worried that now we're going to bring in another cyborg. They might do it better, and then we're just going to forget about Ray Fisher.
It's really interesting. It's hard to figure out how it's going to play. It really is. All right. But let's speak of Doom Patrol. Alan Tudyk has been cast as Mr. Nobody in Doom Patrol. I think that is one of the greatest casting announcements you can make. On top of that, Brendan Fraser was recently cast as Robot Man.
And I love the excitement that Brendan Fraser has for that too.
Yes, he is actually excited. He is happy to do this. He is glad to be a part of this. Which
did you see how he was like? He even said he's like, yo, I can even act out the lines so whoever's doing the voice can kind of put the voice to it or whatever it is they're doing, or the opposite away.
Yep.
To help out. That's how excited he is. That's awesome. And then Alan Tudyk getting another shot at a DC property.
Well,
is,
you know what?
Can
we do it? Because I knew somebody would bring it up. If it wasn't me, if it wasn't somebody else. Can we act like that shit never fucking happened? Powerless never existed. Okay, that was a bastardized ass way to try to use DC characters. And it just was trying to put Vanessa Hudgens over, and it was brutal. They had to reshoot the entire pilot because the pilot was garbage, and then what they reshot turned out to be even more garbage. So no, Alan Tudyk never did a DC property. This is the first time he is involved in the DC universe, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, actually, to be fair, this is the third time.
What else was he in?
He is Arrow in Injustice too.
Okay, so as far as that, okay, I thought you were talking about more so live action and whatnot.
Yeah, no. But they modeled Arrow because I love Injustice. I play it all the time, and I love Arrow. But I hate that Alan Tudyk is Arrow on Injustice because he's not Stephen Amell.
I'll get to that. Speaking of Stephen Amell, before we go any further, Stephen Amell wrestled again for, I think it's the third time at the All-In pay-per-view that took place in Chicago. He wrestled the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels, and I will say this, you can tell that Amell has been training. Yes. He took bumps, ladies and gentlemen, are false. He took a lot of bumps that were incredible for him to take that you would not have expected him to take. It was a great thing. Also, one of the biggest things I think a lot of people, if you are fans of the show, will notice, Amell has the beard and goatee grown out. Yeah.
And did you see who was it? Josh Segura walking out with him?
No, I didn't. I missed the entrance.
Okay, homie who plays Prometheus. Josh Segura.
Yeah.
He was walking out with him. Prometheus Club shirt on.
That's dope.
It's pretty dope, man. I was hyped for that, man.
Okay, I'll admit, I'll get a Prometheus Club shirt.
I got the Vigilante Club. I love that shirt. I wear it all the time.
Of course you do. But nonetheless, I bring that up because of Season 7, which they are saying, Season 7 of Arrow, they have pushed it to the limits of TV ratings.
Mm-hmm.
They have gone to the point as far as they are allowed to go with not only just a CW show, but a comic book show, and also as a TV show as a whole. That, to me, is amazing.
Yeah. And, okay, here's my issue. Maybe you can answer this for me. Because they also said last year that they are doing the Daredevil one-take fight, and that is going to blow everyone's mind, and I don't remember that happening. So as much as I love Arrow, and I love Arrow, I will take everything they say with a grain of salt.
Well, we're always, when we hear one-take fight scenes, one-shot fight scenes, shall we call it, we're always going to compare it to that Season 1 hallway Russian fight in Daredevil, no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter what. That is the bar, and it is a high bar for anyone to both meet or exceed.
Yeah.
But they have an amazing fight choreographer, an amazing visual effects director, so I can see it potentially happening. And again, they're trying to go dark and gritty back to what we had in Seasons 1 and 2. So I can see it happening.
Yeah.
Also, Swamp Thing that's going to be on the DC Universe. The pilot episode will not be directed by James Wan as everyone had anticipated. James Wan will remain the executive producer of the show. It is going to be directed by the creator of Underworld. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I don't hate it. I think it's more, because with television shows, it's a lot more with, your showrunner. Because directors for TV shows will kind of come and go.
It's going to be directed
more
by Len Wiseman. I'm sorry, I forgot to say his name. Len Wiseman, who created Underworld. But go ahead.
Yeah, and so I think the Underworld has a good feel for what we could get for Swamp Thing. I think the they match up a little. I hope it's not as dark, like picture-wise, as Underworld is.
Yeah, I think we'll get a dark tone, but I don't think we'll get as dark as Underworld.
Yeah, because sometimes I can't even see what's going on in Underworld.
This is true, especially with them wearing all the black all the time. It's like a lot of it doesn't work. Yeah. What I do love is that for the DC Universe, they're going dark as a whole. Titans is a dark show. Doom Patrol is going to be a dark show. Swamp Thing's dark. The live action show, shall I say. We don't know what Young Justice Season 3 is going to bring or the Harley Quinn show, but they're staying a dark element and showing that, hey, this is what DC is. It is a dark universe. It is not all glittery and colory as Marvel is.
Which is weird because they recently started trying to get more bright. Well, so now it's like, now let's go back to dark.
Well, they tried that. Well, that's because you brought in Joss Whedon for Justice League, and that's what you were going to get. Let's just be honest. You were going to get that.
Aquaman looks very bright.
Aquaman, but see, those are colors under the sea, so I can see why you're doing that. And and again, this is James Wan as well. James Wan is directing Aquaman. What you're doing with that, Aquaman is supposed to be a dark movie within itself. Like, there's supposed to be some grittiness and darkness within the film. The colors you need to have because of this beauty, this splendor, this underwater kingdom, for Wakanda underwater. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, please YouTube the Aquaman and Black Panther trailer, and you will see they are the same fucking trailers beat for beat. I think that's what they're doing with that. The trailers are the same beat for beat. It is Wakanda underwater mixed with a bunch of Thor Ragnarok. That is literally what this is. But I think that's just the spectacle you have to put for Aquaman, because Aquaman's characters have always been bright and vibrant underwater. I get what you're saying. I get completely, because like Marvel's characters are light. Again, in the original Avengers, all of the costumes were originally darker. Joss Whedon had them color corrected to be brighter. But
I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you actually look at the scenes around them in the Avengers when they have their suit, before they have the big ensemble, it's not super bright, but it's a little bit dim. Like it's almost a cloudy day, but you still got sun. But when the costumes are on, when you see Hulk, he's a bright, bright green. Captain America's blue is a popping blue. Iron Man's red
I always noticed that. I always noticed Captain America's blue was popped out.
Yeah, it pops out. So, but nonetheless, I mean, we'll see with Swamp Thing. I remember Swamp Thing from the 80s, and it was a dark movie.
Love the movie, and I love the show.
And so I'm loving the idea for this show. Speaking of movies and things that change so quick, if you have not heard, Alec Baldwin was supposed to be Thomas Wayne for 48 hours. Okay. He was in and then he was out. Everyone was excited to hear that Alec Baldwin would potentially be playing Thomas Wayne in the Joker movie. Then turned around and he's no longer part of it. He says this is due to scheduling conflicts. Now, what were you about to say?
I don't know how to feel about this. I really don't. Because on one hand, I'm one of the people, I do not want this movie. I'm not excited about it at all. But on the other hand, I mean, Alec Baldwin coming on board could have been a lot of fun. And putting him, opposite of
Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix could have a cool dynamic. But, okay, he came in and now we're out. What kind of scheduling came up within 48 hours, bro?
Who knows? But he also says...
Did you forget you were doing a movie? Or
that's probably what it was. He forgot. Because he did also say... He talked to the USA Today and he said, look, there's 25 other guys who can do this role. Are there? Because really only one I really don't think besides Alec Baldwin there's anybody people want to see beside one person pretty much playing Thomas Wayne. And it's the man we saw play Thomas Wayne in the beginning of BVS.
Everyone. But the problem with you do that is then you tie it into the Justice League.
Yeah, I get that, and of course, this movie supposedly has no connection to that. It is an origin story of how the Joker came to be. There's a rumor, and it's not official, if it's going to follow the Killing Jokes origin line of him being a stand-up comedian or whatnot. The reason I don't believe this should exist, and I think you might agree with me as well as others, you don't need to know his origin.
That's my thing too. That's why I don't want the movie.
Yeah, what makes him so great?
Go on.
No problem, brother. What makes him so great is we don't know where he came. He's just a fucking psychopath who came out of nowhere.
I keep telling people, I'm like, hey, you want to give me a Riddler origin story? Go ahead. I'm all in. You want to give me how the Penguin became the crime boss that he is? I'm all on board. Do you want to tell me why it is that the Condiment King loves mustard and ketchup so damn much? Let's make that movie. I don't want to know why the Joker's the Joker. He's the Joker. That's why.
Wait. Go back. You're not just gonna pass that up like you didn't say that. Did you say? Did you literally say why the Condiment King loves ketchup and mustard? Did you say that like that's a real? Because what's gonna happen is people are gonna start researching like, yo, is there really a Condiment King?
There is a Condiment King. He's a real Batman villain.
He is?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
Hold the hell on. Give me a second. Condiment.
Yo, they even made a joke about it in the Lego Batman movie.
Oh my God, he is in the Lego Batman movie. Oh my God.
He is a legitimate villain.
He was made for Batman the Animated Series.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. So if you were trying to remember him from the cartoon, you would. I mean, from the comic books, you wouldn't. He's from the cartoon. Dear God, there is a fucking Condiment King. I feel bad. I don't even feel bad that I didn't know that. I feel like I'm okay with myself. I feel like I'm okay with not having known that. But nonetheless, we got Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. This cast of this film is actually pretty loaded as well. Robert De Niro's a part of it. Who else? It was a couple other people, like some bigger names have been attached to this film. Mark Maron is a part of it. So the cast makes you like excited, but if you know the character, you're like, no. Because again, my biggest thing is we don't need an origin story, nor do we need two Jokers running around.
No.
Because Jared Leto's Joker is not the future version of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
No. And I feel like this movie, I feel like he's not going to be the Joker until literally the last frame of the film.
Ooh, you think that?
I think that's what it's going to be. I think and at that point, it's something that you could be like, yo, this doesn't have to be a Joker movie. This could just be a movie. You could call it Comedian. You know?
Yeah.
And I'd be all on board for it.
I agree with you.
But the fact that it is Joker that's what's bothering me.
I 100% agree with you. You get no argument out of me. So, but nonetheless, we are still getting that movie. Speaking of movies that we're still getting that nobody believed was going to happen, The Flash is still getting this movie. And it is not Flashpoint. Okay? It is official that the movie is called The Flash. You know, kind of like the Joker's movie is just called Joker. The script is currently being written by its directors, John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein. If you don't know who those guys are, those are the two geniuses who gave us the movie Game Night. I don't say that facetiously. I don't say that sarcastically. Game Night is amazing, okay?
I love Game Night.
They are working on it. Here's the issue. There is no solid release nor a shooting expectation date. Kiersey Clemons, who was attached to play Iris, she doesn't know what's happening. She says this: what I will say is that Warner Brothers gets to approve every job that I do. And so far, I'm not doing Flash for the rest of the year. We know that. I'm doing other things. But let's hope for 2019. Here's the issue I have with this. If it gets to a point where her schedule gets too busy and she no longer can be Iris West, they're going to have to recast, right? Right.
Yeah.
What I
don't want.
What I don't want them to do, though, He said, don't want them to recast with the white girl. And I'll tell you why. You have set the precedent that you are going to make Iris black. You have stood on it. Because you're not going to recast another girl of color. You're just not.
And I want to see her in that role too. I think I want
to see Kirstie Clemons in that role. I want to see her in it. But again, I can understand why she would have to pull from the project.
See, but I do think the bright side of this is the fact that she says Warner Brothers is approving all of her projects. So that's kind of like Warner Brothers saying, yeah, you got time, go ahead. Yeah, you got time, go ahead. So then someone's going, hey, I want to do that. Hey, you don't have time. We're about to start.
Okay, that could potentially happen.
That's what I see out of how she worded that.
But
is
again,
her going,
I think that's her being safe. I think that's her saying it's safe, though.
Yeah.
I honestly, in my heart of hearts, I believe that's her playing it safe, because she can't just flat out say, I won't be a part of this, because you have your 3 stars are Ezra Miller as Barry Allen, Kirstie Clemons as Ira West, and Billy Crudup as Henry West. And there's a potential they have to recast Billy Crudup as well, if I'm not mistaken, or if he's not out already. So this whole process, this movie was supposed to have Ben come out. This movie was supposed to be set when you had Rick Famuyiwa as the director of Jump. When you had him, when you found out you got the director from Dope, all systems should have been a go. But Warner Brothers at the time couldn't stop having their hand in the pot while the food was cooking. Now that you have Walter Hamada, you get a little bit of leniency. You get the, hey, I just need to follow under this guideline, but do what you do. Have your artistic vision.
See, and I think the key to this is Walter Hamada. I think he's come in and he has set a line, and he's saying, this is what we're doing. We are focusing on this. This is happening now. This is happening now. This is in development because we're getting the script done. Once it's done, we'll get it set and going. But we're not going to focus on it until the script is done. Because I think they have a clear view of where they want to go now, and I think they are going to start executing their game plan that way.
I guess so. For that game plan, does it revolve around Shazam, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman 1984? Or does it all three, one, or none?
I think 2 of them. I think it revolves around Aquaman and Wonder Woman. I think Shazam, while will be part of the universe, is their Ant-Man. It's like, yeah, okay, we're gonna have a decent opening with it, but it's not gonna be huge.
Okay, I can see that.
But let's say Aquaman bombs. Let's say Wonder Woman bombs, and neither one are gonna bomb at all. Aquaman might have a mixed critical reaction. Guarantee everyone's gonna love Wonder Woman.
According to test screenings right now for Aquaman, the test screenings are positive, so
yeah,
that's not a bad thing.
So so I think those 2, but even worst case, let's say they did bomb. That's when, okay, hold Flash, hold everything. Now we're gonna pay. I think once Aquaman hits, and then once Wonder Woman hits, they'll be like, okay, next up, is Flash ready? All right, put it in the pipeline. Let's go.
Okay, I can see that. I can see where you're going with that. I mean, it's potentially a great thing. I would love for that to happen. I would love for them to get the DCEU on track and let the DCEU be the DCEU and not focus on anything else. Again, it goes back to an earlier discussion we just had. I do still feel sorry for Ray Fisher, because the Cyborg movie off the table. The Cyborg character as he was gone.
I would love to see somehow Cyborg be a part of the Flash, the movie.
If they did that, I could. Now, if they do that, and as long as he's just not a 1-2 scene cameo, I'd be perfectly fine with it. Let him actually. We can't give you the film, but you'll be his sidekick per se.
Something like a Ragnarok, where you had Thor and Hulk.
Yes, exactly like that. That's the best way to put it. Let Cyborg be the Flash's Hulk.
Exactly. I think that'd be great.
Well, I think that's about all the news I've got today. We got going for y'all. So, man, first and foremost, let me say to my brother BC, man, thank you for hanging out with me, recording this episode of the Mad Titan. Bro, I appreciate you and got so much love for you. Let the people know how they can find you, keep up to date with what you got going on and what you are doing.
Well, Jay, I'm so glad that those 15 other people canceled on you and you got to come to me. It means a lot to me that I was 16th in line, so that's really cool. Everyone can follow me on all social media at RealJackassBC, RealJackassBC, Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is. It's the same thing. My podcast, It Is What It Is with the Jackass, comes out every single Thursday on Cinelinks.com, as well as the Offshoots Radio Network, wherever podcasts are found.
All right, man. For me, you already know how you can find me. Twitter, Instagram, at Mr. J Washington, MRJAY. You should know how to spell Washington. YouTube, youtube.com/JAY Washington 80. Join my supervillain squad. Go to Patreon, patreon.com/Mr. J Washington. I got a bunch of interviews up over there with the cast of Black Lightning. BC was there with me. These are some dope interviews. You don't want to miss them, and the only way you will hear them is over on Patreon. Guess what? It's only $5. Go to Patreon, become a part of the squad, and help me make this get bigger and better and grow with you all's help, and I will do that, all right? This week, starting Thursday through Saturday, I will be in Salt Lake City, Utah at FanX Salt Lake Comic Convention. On Thursday night, I just had it pulled up. I'm so unorganized. Thursday night, I will be interviewing X-Men and Watchmen screenwriter and the voice of Solid Snake. Snake? I will be interviewing David Hayter during his panel. And on Saturday, I will be interviewing and talking with Legends of Tomorrow's own Katie Lotz and Brandon Ralph. We are doing that in the Grand Ballroom, in the big room for FanX Comic Con. I'm also doing a bunch of other panels as well. So you can catch me all throughout there in Salt Lake City. And I hope to see you and talk to you there. BC, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. With that being said, I've wrapped up the second official episode of the Mad Titan Podcast with me, your resident supervillain, Mr. J Washington. I will holler at you guys later. Take care. I'm out of here. Peace.